Hi, everyone.
Hello. Tonight's
First of
stream is
all,
sponsored by Bo being up to some shit.
it is tonight's stream is sponsored by Bo being up to some shit. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone who is here for the live stream. Appreciate you greatly. Thank you for being here. Those of you on the replay, thank you for rewatching it. We greatly appreciate you for doing so. All of the information for if you are looking for my P.O. box, if you're looking to support our channels, you do not have to support financially. If that is not your bag, that's totally cool. No one's pressuring you to do so. But for those of you that want to, information is there. You can also join our Patreons. It's all in the DB. So the other thing, what was that? There was like another thing. What was it? Oh, that's the other thing. I wanted to say a thank you to Sarah because they're so kind. They sent me a little gift thanking me for the Amazon
It's Sarah?
alternatives video. I don't know. It looks like it's a different
Okay.
Sarah.
Oh,
But
well, and we have another Sarah in the chat now, too. Who knows?
yeah.
There's
So
a
I just
Sarah. I'm thanking for you.
yes, there is a Sarah that
I
I
know.
just wanted to say thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that because those
Oh,
little gifts, super chats, all of that stuff, it goes back into the channel, and that actually helps me to be able to like play with more shops and find other things and look at the shops that you guys suggest as well. Because I honestly at first thought that was just like a bomb, like it was a terrible video. Like I was watching it perform, and I was
no.
like, I was like, well, performance wise, I was like, oh, it's not doing well, but
Well,
it actually did well. It ended up doing well. So I did drop it at a weird time, I think too. So that's another thing. But neither here nor there. Just wanted to say hi. Victory begins in the garden. So nice to have you here. Mm.
welcome, Deja and Sherry. It's a really
Yes.
good video, the Amazon alternatives. Very good. I really like it.
Yeah, it's actually really exciting. I like doing stuff like that because
Oh,
like
yes.
I felt like it's very important. I can't keep saying that out loud, like, oh, we need to not shop at Amazon, but like not really give anybody any alternatives. And Victory Begins in the Garden had a really cool comment where they mentioned, why not go into stores? And I kind of gave a little bit of it, but the additional part of it was that a lot of us are just used to online shopping and prefer to shop online. And in the DFW area, for those of you that don't know, it's Dallas Fort Worth. It's very, very difficult to find mom and pop shops here. And even if you find them, it could be a good 45-minute drive to get somewhere, and that's if there's no traffic. So one of the things I wanted to be able to do is make sure that we can support small businesses even if we're not near them, and that's something that I continue to try to do. But it's very, very hard. I'm not gonna lie. I live in a very like Target rich, and by Target I mean Target, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, like all the big names. And there's just like, if there's one that's set up with Target, there's another one that's set up with Lowe's, there's TJ Maxx, like all of that is always there. So it's like you kind of have to really go out of your way and figure it out. And in this economy, driving,
Yeah.
no.
And Sarah has a good point. Some of us have immunocompromised peeps in the house, so going out into the world adds another layer of danger and concern. And it's funny, I talked to Audra about this, where like I also think so. Like New York City has a ton of mom and pop shops. That's true. At the same time, right now, the the pandemic has closed a lot of them, either temporarily or permanently. Two,
Yes.
I'm in like the residential like South Brooklyn area. Yeah, like my closest stores, Target, 7-Eleven, Starbucks. I live in Brooklyn and I don't live near a mom and pop like independent coffee shop. Like that, it's just and I for me with the pandemic and all the social anxiety layers of it, it's more and more challenging to just go out in the world. And a lot of times one trip out can be like 4 hours, getting on
Yeah.
the train, going to the city, going to the stores. And so I appreciate Audra's video because for me, it's like there's a layer of complication that where I live adds to everything. And so, as much as I just want to say, go to the independent stores, go to the little flea markets and things, right now, in August of
Nah.
2020, that's kind of a bit hard.
Yeah, I mean, and
So,
that's honestly why I do venture out and go out to eat because right where I live, there are a lot of mom and pop restaurants, not necessarily stores. And I know why they're open. I get it. I They don't have a lot of security blankets to just like not be open. And even though some of them were doing like curbside pickup, it just wasn't the business that they needed because a lot of these joints also sell beer. And while they were delivering beer, the problem was that the only way that they could deliver the alcohol was only if you bought food, and people did not want to buy food and then also buy beer. I know it sounds
sorry.
dumb, but people go to, you go to a bar to have beers and like now you're like, well, if I just want beer, so I'm just going to go to the liquor store. So
And this, I was kind of afraid of going out in the world before the pandemic, so I'm a Jedi of e-commerce.
oh
Exactly.
yeah, I have had some really ugly moments. I think one of the first times I began to realize that I had such difficulty being in the public eye, like in the public, because I had always kind of been aware of it, but I didn't really get it until like one year I was trying to get a coat in Kohl's, and it was like a whole ass mess, and like the woman was just struggling in all these different ways, and I was just like, give me the damn coat. Like that's what happened. Poor lady. I was just like, I mean, I felt so bad for that lady because I really didn't mean to be. I don't know who this person is. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to get into my Instagram part of it. I get
I
like
do think
this
this
is.
is a good pointer from Sarah is that like if you have the money right now, buying gift cards from your favorite small businesses like the stores, the restaurants, whatever, if you can't afford it, do it. I know here in New York, a lot of restaurants are sort of making merch too, so people can buy a thing, and then that they
Mhm.
make money off of the merch. And yeah, liquor is an
Yeah.
extremely gigantic moneymaker for restaurants. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's a big part of it. People really don't realize that or think about it, and so like I get it. And since I wanted to keep, because one of my favorite little joints already closed, and I was like, oh my god, I don't want anything else to close. So I just started showing up. I'm not excited about it because some of these people freak me out, like they do anyway. But I'm like they do anyway.
I like that. So they freak you
But
out anyway. I'm like, yeah.
it's gotten
Um,
worse.
so
Where?
tonight
Oh,
we are
Emily.
doing unpopular opinions, and both Audra and I posted a a post on our Instagram stories asking for requests. But don't worry, chat. I feel like there may be an opportunity if you didn't submit one to put one out later on during the process. I'm just trying to get mine to load
Yes.
up because all of a sudden it's not. Okay, there we go. So, and this is like a random assortment. It's not just makeup related. Whatever unpopular opinion you have, we ask for it. And yes, so
Yes. I don't know what
uh,
mine is doing. It's not in order. So, like, there's some stuff I screenshot. So I'm just gonna go find that, and I'll start with one and see what happens from there. Oh, that's not correct. The one I had is like, if his D stunt your period early, lower your voice when you're talking to him. Now that is not that is not an unpopular opinion. My apologies. Um,
evening, evening, like liberal reviews. Welcome.
so the very first unpopular opinion I have is from Pollyanna Palooza, and it says, Dubstep is not only a valid music genre, it fucking goes." I'm not sure what dubstep is though.
I feel like it's dubstep to like the kind of music that's like wop 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 wop, like electronica is what it seems like, but it's like the 2018. That's why like
Did she just say wop 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 wop? Like y'all
I did.
heard it here
I did not
first.
even believe my own self.
Dubstep sounds like wop 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 wop. It sounds like Charlie Brown's parents, like all the adults in Charlie Brown. That is dubstep. Dubstep is.
Uh,
If it's just like if it's electronica, yeah, I agree.
Dubstep was definitely invented by somebody who got an MRI. Wait, okay.
You write another lemon tree. What is your name? Because I feel like you don't have to tell me. I'm being a dick. Um,
It's a genre
wait.
of electronic dance music that originated in South London in the late 90s. It's generally characterized by sparse, syncopated rhythmic patterns with prominent sub bass frequencies.
Oh,
So, like,
Skrillex.
Skrillex, yep,
Don't they do that
yeah.
song? You make me feel invincible. Because I was just listening to that today. So then I would
Like,
agree with that.
yeah.
That is not an unpopular opinion.
We just started. We barely even said anything about it. We were trying to figure out what dubstep was.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
so
music is music, in my opinion. Like, I think you can not like music, but to say it's not really music or it's not doesn't take talent to make is really shitty.
listen, I used to rave back in the day. Like, and I mean I raved. I wasn't just like no, I was at the rave. Wow, wow, beep, 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 beep. Num 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 num.
I love that for you to imitate because after her wop wop wop. Oh, Isabel, look at that.
Here's my namey name.
Yeah, no talk, only beat. That makes sense.
Yeah, so we did. It's not like it's not like Alice DJ where she does start singing it. It's more like Darude Sandstorm. So dun, 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 dun. That was not it, but we're gonna move on. No, okay. So I used to rave back in the day. I went to several raves. This was in Los Angeles. I was in like Jinkos. I was in like the weird thing about raving was that you wore pants that could fit 75 people in them and then a top that could barely fit you. So then you were
That just
like
barely
wearing,
covered the nipples, if you're lucky.
yeah, you were like barely, like there was almost nothing. Sorry. You just
Wait.
and like I had
Like,
such a
you
good
are
time
the
at
sound
raves.
effects person. This is for you, not for me.
Listen, sound effects are my bag. Yeah, Darude Sandstorm was like, dun, dun, dun. Like every time now, it's still that song still fucking hits like every time. And then they started like sometimes putting words in it, and like one of my favorite old school is "Now You're Gone." I think it's like Bass Hunter. Now you're gone, I realize my love for you was strong, and I miss you here. Now you're gone. So like that was like I loved dance music. I laid on a speaker. I saw Armand Van Helden spin, BT. Um, let's see. I saw DJ Dan. Like I'm old, so I saw like a lot of these old like these fool like they were killing it. So I will agree with you, Pollyanna Palooza. Dubstep is the
Yes.
shit. I am here for it. Oh, Allie,
I
you were
think
never
it's
past your prime. Raves are just listen. There was always like the one weird old person at the, and it was fine.
they still exist. Well, maybe I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if they still exist right now, but they exist. Yeah, they exist.
Oh, raves will always exist.
Yes, exactly. Um, ooh, my very first unpopular opinion goes in strong
Okay.
from Joe Mayhem. Harry Potter isn't that good. Here's what I'm going to admit. I never read the books and I only saw maybe 2 or 3 of the movies. I literally could care. I could not care less.
um. Okay, I'm gonna have to
Is
disagree.
it? Is this live stream over? Is that what's happening?
Listen, I'm not one of those people who's like really big on declaring my house or whatever, but
I mean,
like
I know I'm a Hufflepuff.
Harry Potter is, I am definitely not that. I hang out in Snape's world, okay? Like,
You're
listen.
Slytherin,
Oh,
or
yes.
I don't know, or is Snape just a villain and you're just like I'm just a villain? I
I
don't
am Snape. But, anyways, yeah, I'm Slytherin. So it's like, I'm not. Listen, I love Harry
Here's the thing: is
Potter. So good.
I don't
You're a
I don't
wizard,
know whether
Harry.
I don't know whether or not it's not that good. I just know that now in 2020, once we've discovered how literally terrible the author is, I'm good. I don't need to read it.
But you know what? Don't read the books. I didn't read the books. Psh, I'm an adult. Here's what happened. I watched Harry Potter movies, and let me just explain. Like that's how we got our Pats. That's how we got Robert Pattinson. And also, there is this like big
Another
Serbian
person
dude
I
in one
don't
of
care
them.
about. Wait, he's
So
in
hot.
Robert
He's
Pattinson's
in.
in Twilight.
No, he's also in
Um,
this. I feel like he was in this. I feel like he was in the Harry
it's where
Potters.
we got Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes, but I think our Pats was like an incendiary, like a small character in this. Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. I feel like our Pats was in this for like a second. He was there with like them guys, them
Oh,
dudes, them
second.
boys. Or was it like the guy who was like because there was also this other big dude who was like really attractive. He looked Serbian. He was so hot. He was so hot. I know that he was supposed to be like a young man. But he was an adult.
I think
Told
it's
you he was
funny.
Cedric
I don't
Diggory.
know.
Our Pats was in there.
Okay.
Wait.
He's
Yeah.
still an
Yeah.
actor I actually give no fucks about. So
I love our Pats. You know what he did? He fucking like he had a stalker, and you know what he did to get rid of his stalker? He went out with them, and he complained the whole time. You know what happened? They stopped stalking him. Like that's fucking gangsta ass shit.
but it's
They
literally only a thing a man could do. So I'm like, it's being
True.
a man. That's all it is. Like it's
Yeah,
only
but
what a man
like,
could do.
but it is pretty tits that he was like, let's go out on a date. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And then just complained about everything. Also, he's kind of a gross dude, and I enjoy that. Like, he doesn't really bathe himself like all the time. He looks like he doesn't bathe himself all the time. And, you know, he's going to be in Batman. So, nerd things. Like, I'm down. Yeah,
Here's
we got to
the thing
figure
is,
out who played Crumb because Crumb was hot. Crumb was hot. And I'm hoping that he was an adult. Wait, does this? Yes. Yes, Slytherin is for bad bitches, though. I'm gonna fuck up the world.
I just
I like
don't know
our
enough
Pats.
about it, and I didn't care. So
You have to divorce our Pats from Twilight because he's a fucking damn good actor. He's a really good actor. You just have to like not put him together with that Twilight bullshit because ugh.
I just
not
realized I
canceling
also
you.
don't care that much about actors. Like I just don't care that much. So
Aw.
I'm just like, okay, if I see him in a movie that I enjoy, cool. But yes. Also Stanislav Yanevsky is who played Victor Crumb.
Is he
And
Serbian?
he's Bulgarian. He was born in Sofia, Bulgaria. And he is not a baby. He's a year younger than me. He was born in 85.
He's a sexy bitch, and I will let him do. Moving on.
If this is your thoughts on our pets, I like you, Deja.
First of all, Toya, we're gonna have a fight here. Fight. We're gonna have a fight. First of all, don't disrespect Batman like that. Don't be disrespecting Batman like that. We're only 18 minutes into this live. You can't start off disrespecting the Batman. Listen, I'm very excited. Did you not see? How did you watch it? Now I'm in turmoil.
Yeah, because that's another genre I don't care about is superheroes.
Oh no, Batman is not like Batman.
But is our
Batman
pets
is not
like
like
Batman?
Yeah, Batman's not just like a regular superhero though. Batman, I think, is the most complicated out of all superheroes because like he's like the only one who really just like doesn't give a fuck about beating people down. Like he really doesn't
He's
care.
like the only superhero that I ever like enjoyed, and I think that's because I watched the animated TV show, and then Michael Keaton was a thing, and then sadly we had Val Kilmer, and then George Clooney, and then who else?
George Clooney's the least best Batman. He was the worst Batman. George Clooney was the worst Batman. Absolutely. Like
also, yes, Twilight is another series that I never read.
You know what? I read all the Twilight books because then I wasn't being an adult.
I told the story where like I I was on a public bus in New York City. It was like after the first or second book came out. Somebody was reading it like on their Kindle, and I was basically standing over them. They were seated, and I was standing, and the text was big enough that I could read it. And I read like 2 paragraphs, and I was like, I need to bleach my eyes from this idiot's writing. I can't. And it continued to grow as large, and I'm just like, okay, well, I like
Alex, you were
vampires.
correct.
Yeah.
Alex, you're right. Listen, so here's the problem. With DC, I feel like has better, darker characters, but like their movies suck ass. Like almost all of the DC, like the only ones I've ever been able to do anything very well with, in my opinion, is Batman. I don't like Gal Gadot, and I don't know. Wonder Woman's like, okay, look, just like.
I'm sorry with this.
I am so sorry. That was an intense sneeze. Hey, that's probably true. That's probably true. Kim Possible, Kim Possible. I loved Kim Possible. She was the shit. I also love the famous Jet Jackson. Unpopular opinion. The famous Jet Jackson. Exactly a popular opinion. The famous Jet Jackson was like the best. It's a good spy.
Did I see Aquaman? I don't think I did.
Oh my god, Aquaman was so awful.
I didn't really see any of them.
I feel like a movie reviewer called it Underwater Jurassic Park. So it was like the same thing, like not the original Jurassic Park, but like all the Jurassics that followed after.
Another terrible movie. Never mind. I'm not going to remember it. There was some terrible movie.
Oh, Marlena, don't get me started because I actually did know him. So that's actually very upsetting. Yeah. I went to college with him. And we went to a few parties together. It was pretty awesome. This is from Henry Malicieux. And their unpopular opinion is, I hate watermelon. Incorrect. You are wrong. Just
incorrect.
You're wrong. Watermelon is delicious.
Good watermelon. So
yeah,
if they're too ripe, they're grainy.
Mm-hmm. And I think if it's not ripe enough, if it's not ripe enough, then it's like.
But like cold and ripe,
yeah,
it's like my summer meal. Like it's literally a meal for me at least once a week during the summer months. If not
right?
more.
Thank you. It's so good. I don't understand people's like hatred. You'll watch anything with Jason Momoa? No. Why does everybody think he's hot though? I'm so confused. Is it because his eyes do that thing?
I think it's because the massive muscles. I mean,
is it his hair?
It doesn't do it for me, but I feel like the hair, the eyes, the muscles, the tattoos. Thank you for like. See, I don't like most melon except for watermelon. Most other melons are way too like finicky to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, like cantaloupe is good, but you have to like get it. Like I don't know, you have to get them all at the right time.
Yeah,
Jason Momoa is hot. Is he really?
I think that's an unpopular opinion because I think you and I are like.
Yeah, I don't. She said I'm mean for a man.
Or our unpopular opinion is that Jason Momoa is not hot, I should say.
Yeah. And also, neither is Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth is also not hot.
Yeah, no.
Ew, no. I feel like it would be gritty. I just feel like it would be. I feel like he smells like patchouli oil, and that's like that's a thing I don't like. I feel like he smells like patchouli oil, and like.
I can't stand patchouli.
And I feel like he'd be squinting at you the whole time. Like, don't cancel.
We'll be canceled together. I mean, Audra has canceled me for my Harry Potter and Robert Pattinson views. And I've canceled her for her superhero. I don't know. But yeah, I don't care about Jason Momoa.
Man,
whatever.
Ouch.
I just don't. Gritty is not good, period. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I just
After
feel like...
enough
I feel like
Go ahead.
hooking up with Jason Momoa with like patchouli, body oil, like body odor, and like weird haikus.
I will say Chris Hemsworth and Ghostbusters actually did get me going a little bit because he did the funny dumb thing that like usually they stick that shtick on women. He was entertaining. I will say that.
I have not even seen that one yet.
Oh, I like it. Okay. See, yes, I thought Jason Momoa was maybe a little hotter in Game of Thrones than how
Mm.
he's like. I feel like he got much more bulky after that, and I'm just like, good.
Sorry, my forehead itches because of the
Okay,
weather.
so we actually have another unpopular opinion that relates to being attracted to people,
Okay.
and that is from our friend Alex, sincerely Alex Makeup. I don't understand the obsession with Kristen Stewart. Agreed. I didn't get into Twilight.
Kristen
I don't
Stewart.
particularly find her hot. The woman, the female lead in
Oh yeah, yeah,
Twilight.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So she's a very one-dimensional actress in which all she does is make this face.
Yeah.
Like she even played Joan Jett in Cherry Bomb. I think it was that the name of the movie. She
Yeah.
played Joan Jett, and like there were like the other members were actually kind of pissed about it because again, like I don't know why people get mad at these biopics because it's obviously like if Joan Jett wrote it, then it's obviously being told from her perspective of what happened, and like the others
Yeah.
shouldn't really get that pissy about it. They're like, oh, we were portrayed incorrect. I'm like, listen, then make your own fucking movie. But you know what? You can't make one because nobody cares about y'all. So sorry, but like, but it's like, but here's the thing: she's good in some things and terrible in others. Here, I did anybody have the misfortune of watching the new Charlie's Angels? Because it is the biggest steaming pile. You know the big like Triceratops shit in Jurassic Park. Speaking of uh, Jurassic Park, that's what that movie was. Oh no, Alex, I'm sorry. Yes, it did happen. It's just horrible.
I will say the one time that I saw, so I have seen her many times, and I never got the hype until the press images of Kristen Stewart and Kate Blanchett, I guess, doing some press like for a movie they were in, where
Mhm.
they're both in suits, and I'm literally looking at the picture now because the way Kristen Stewart is looking at Kate Blanchett, I'm like, whatever chemistry that is, I want that. And like they're both in a suit,
Aw.
her hair is like curled, kind of like a pompadour, and I'm just like, okay, that I get, but that's the only moment I've gotten it.
No, like I think she's very beautiful. I don't know what her acting range is. I keep looking for it, and I don't find it. That's all. Like I think she's an attractive woman. I think that that's the hype behind her. Is she's just like not traditionally attractive in that she doesn't have like she's not all like super feminine, and so because she's not super feminine all the time everywhere she goes, they are like she just doesn't get that. Kate Blanchett is like unworld like otherworldly.
Yes. I would agree with this. Three Roses.
Yes, Ruby Rose is creepy hot, and I mean creepy because like you're probably gonna do creepy things to look at her because she's hot. That didn't make sense, but you know what I'm saying? Like she's a
I would
person like if she lived in your neighbor. Thank you. Like
I would look at Kate Blanchett like that too, like Tisha. Rage biting her lip and screaming. That's it.
yeah, it's just like she's. I don't get it. You know, but you know who was like underrated and people just like aren't watching her movies, but she's fucking fantastic is Abigail Breslin. Like she's in she's in one of my favorite it's like a thriller movie. That's a really like I don't remember the name of the movie. I'm gonna have to look it up. But she is fantastic and phenomenal in that movie. Like it's actually a fairly good movie if you want honesty. Um, okay, I'm just looking at the weather because it randomly turned on us, and so I was like, okay, it wasn't supposed to do what it's doing now, so it's like, yes, that's the thing. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
She's just very like she's not that she is, but she looks very gender fluid.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that might be some of the hype too. Is that it's like she just does Kristen-y things. Also, did y'all peep this highlighter again? Again, Midas.
Nice.
Okay, I'm done. I'm looking up that movie with Abigail Breslin.
So Abigail Breslin, I think, suffers from the child actor thing because I still think of her as from Sunshine, something Sunshine. Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
But I do think Kristen Stewart is how people think they're diverse because she's different, when in reality, she's a slender brunette woman that's somewhat conventionally attractive or fairly conventionally attractive. So it's like, it's not being diverse. You just hired a brunette instead of a blonde who is a bi. If we're just going to talk about women that we think are hot, of course, Janelle fucking Monáe. I definitely spent some time with talking about her and Tessa Thompson, either the last live stream or the one right before that.
And then she said she's like the popular TikTok lesbians. That's probably true. You're right. Yeah. Like, listen, when you slide over onto the TikTok lesbian side, like it's just listen.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place to be. So let me pull up my other one that I can definitely pull up for sure. Carl's D926 said strawberry flavored things are bleh. Unless it's like that grandma candy, you know, the one that nobody knows where it comes from, but it just is always there, and it's like in that strawberry wrapper, and you eat it, and you're just like, oh my god, and it has that little juice in the middle, and you're just like, you live for that moment when it goes, and you're like, ugh, but you don't know where that candy comes from. If it's not that candy, then yes, I would agree.
And see, that candy to me isn't even a good strawberry flavor, in my opinion. I think the thing with fake flavors is that like sometimes they're like good in a bad way, sometimes they're just like fucking terrible, and sometimes they're really good. And I think a lot of times a lot of flavors are kind of like terrible, but strawberry is just one of the most common ones. But like a strawberry starburst, yes please.
First of all, I apologize. Like, apparently, all y'all feel the same about
Witness.
Yeah,
I agree that the grandma candy is questionable, in my opinion.
Listen, but I don't like. It's just a delicious candy. I don't care. Unpopular opinion, that grandma strawberry candy that none of us know where it, like, I feel like here's what happens when you become a grandmother, and this is the only reason I'm sad that I'm not having kids, because it's like when you become a grandmother, you get the key to that strawberry candy. Like, that's what it is. Japan does do fruit flavored candy right.
Japan fruity gummies of all forms are my favorite kind of candy.
Tastes like
I love
like grape.
Gummy candies, but yes, like something with a K, katsu something. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
They're watermelon. They have two different kinds of grape ones, two different varieties of grape. They're mango. Like, they do fruit flavors right.
Yes, the reason that it always tastes like cough syrup is because you can't condense. Like, there's certain things that you can't condense into a flavor, and cherry is one of them.
Yeah,
because cherries are very unique in that, like, literally each cherry doesn't taste the same, and they're trying to condense that into one flavor, and that's why cherry tastes like shit.
Also, I'm with Irene. I love Haribo. I think Another Lemon Tree said sweets are useless. Okay, sweets are technically useless. Desserts give us nothing, but they give us enjoyment. So let us have them.
She says that as I'm sitting here eating my Pockies. Like, what?
Like
How
the
hurtful.
Haribo gummy snakes, they're like one sweet and one sour. They're so good
I
because
got these
they're
from Korea, basically.
delicious.
Chocolate and
They're
coconut Pocky.
delicious.
In case you were wondering, yeah, I definitely did not get that here. I ordered this.
Oh yeah, I have like a box that I got that was like a random snack box. It wasn't a subscription. It was just a site that I was ordering from had like a mixed box of snacks, and I was just like, yes. And this desserts give me serotonin, so let me have my
Facts.
gummies.
Facts. Like, I
But
don't
yeah, like
get sweets. Isabel, right? I'm hoping
I
I did
don't
this
love
right
the
this time.
gummy bears because I think they're a little too like firm. They're not as soft to me. But the worms or the snakes or other flavors.
You're only here because you want snacks, and I don't have any for you. You're good.
I love how it's like turned into this like the pear. Wait, the pear flavor Jelly Belly. I don't even like fresh pears because I feel like texturally they're always all over the place. But those
Yeah.
candies are really good.
Mary Moo's
So those are
makeup.
not
I agree with
trash.
you. I don't like Sour Patch. I don't like sour gummies at all. They're gross.
The only gummies that I've liked that are sour are like usually less sour. I don't like the harsh citric acid intensity of Sour Patch. Like I think I got literally like sour gummy worms from 7-Eleven before, and they were perfect because they were like just a little bit sour, but mostly
I
they were
think
just
I,
gummy worms.
I think I just don't like most sour candy. If I'm honest, I just
Yeah, I
like.
don't.
I
I
don't
don't
like that
like
my
it.
my face has to go like this to handle it. And like
Hmm.
that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
So I feel
I
like
don't
that's.
like what the citric acid does inside my mouth, and that's basically what they
Mhm.
coat these sour candies with. They just coat them with citric acid. So I'm just
Ugh.
like, I can't. I love how
Yes,
everyone's into snack talk.
I know. Isabel, I'm sorry.
I love
I
that.
like pears. I actually do like pear. Pear's good.
I think pears is one of those fruits that has to be like the exact perfect ripeness and texture for me. Otherwise, they're too grainy or gritty, or they're too soft for me.
Yeah, you like if the Mary. That's the thing. When you get sour stuff, it like rips up the whole side of your like all your cheeks. It like rips all that up, and then I'm just like, this was an unfortunate turn of events.
And that's why I like the Haribo ones that I keep mentioning because it's their flavor is sour, but they don't have the coating. They're just like lightly sour, and then there's a sweet flavor to go with it.
Okay.
My cousin will bite. So my on my dad's side, Palestinian. He from like age 5 would grab a lemon like an apple and bite into it and eat it. He would add salt to the lemon and eat it that way. So yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, this is my unpopular opinion. Apples are trash.
I love apples. What the fuck?
Again,
Did you just
they
say that out loud?
oftentimes are mealy or grainy or they don't have much flavor. 1 out of 10 apples are good. And
Y'all really
shrimp
just trying to
chips
hurt
are
my
amazing.
feelings today. All I've been
I like
eating
a
for
lot
days,
of fruit, but like apples, no.
but you know what? I can't say anything because like literally all I've been eating every day for the past almost week is like yakisoba. So like,
That sounds delicious.
yeah, that's all I've been eating. I'm like, I don't want to eat anything but this.
Poliana
Um,
wants to know what our opinions on blueberries.
I literally only like blueberries when they are in yogurt. Done.
I they're okay, but they're not my favorite. In terms of berries, I love raspberries. I like blackberries. I think a lot of strawberries have the texture of styrofoam and they can fuck off and die. But good, like honestly, I'm gonna sound like a fucking prick, but like farmers market shit. Like actually things that are in season when I buy like strawberries that have been grown on Long Island or somewhere in New York State. I could eat those all the time. Blueberries, same. But most grocery store fruit, I don't think it.
See, I'm sorry. I'm also ordering food because I just suddenly realized like I'm fucking starving. So I'm like, I
Wait,
gotta get
someone.
myself
Wait,
some
what are you
food.
asking? Which ones? Which ones am I talking about? What are you asking about? Legal lipstick. You could be asking me about fruit or about candy or what? Wait, honey. Oh, Honey Crisps are pretty good. They are. There's so many like again local farmers market. Blah blah blah. I know I sound like a
And
prick.
you're like, bam, bam,
Um,
bam.
but there are so many varieties there that like I do like. Like I like ones that are tart and sweet, not just sweet. Like red delicious apples in particular can fuck off and die.
I'm having difficulty. I'm so sorry, all. I just wanted some fried rice and
Here,
it's like very difficult.
I'm gonna read another one that's not food related, but I think is pretty might cause some reactions. Deja, this is for
I'm for
you.
sure.
This is your entry. Modern Renaissance is at best just okay.
Like the movie?
No, like the ABH palette.
Ah! Don't look at me.
If you're gonna say what I think you're gonna say, we're probably in agreement. I think it's
Oh my
I think
god.
it set a trend. I don't think it's a great palette.
I have never touched it, so I have no real opinion on it.
That's good to
Not
know.
because of anything other than like I've never used it, so I just don't want to say.
I mean, but out well, because have you tried ABH outside of the Jackie palette in terms of
Girl,
eyeshadows?
no, I won't fuck with them. I just here's the
That
thing.
says
I didn't fuck with them even before it. So here was the thing. I just never found most of the palettes very interesting, and they have a lot of kickback, and I wasn't interested in dealing with all that. So you got pink
everyone is dying
eye.
over. She said like the movie. So that's the thing is that I think back in the day before I knew indie brands,
I'm
I
ashamed.
did like I hit pan on a couple of colors in Modern Renaissance, but pretty much like a year after using it, I was on to other things. I was just like, if I want reds, I want them to be red, not brownish tone reds. If I want like it didn't have enough shimmers to me, it only had two shimmers. So
Yeah.
I just and then I'll be honest, once I heard more recently, especially with Discord, I've heard more and more, particularly Black women, say that palette never worked for me, or like two colors and it worked for me. And it was just a good eye opening moment of like, oh yeah, there's a whole audience of people that were just left the fuck out with that palette.
Yeah, it was. Here's the thing about. So here, okay, let me figure out how to put this together.
Ooh,
I just never
Yawnzy
was
is
interested in it.
taking it further. Modern
Ooh,
Renaissance is
snap.
ugly. Okay. Okay, go
Ooh.
ahead, Audra.
No, I think I never like sucked that ABH dick, man. Like I just couldn't do it. Like I would look at it and I was like, it told you to get out of support.
I
But I'd look
definitely
at it
would
and I
have
was just kind of
never.
like I just never felt like any of their palettes spoke to me. And I think that with
It's
you helping to introduce me into like more singles, which I just got an order from
yeah.
Davina. Like I forgot to tell you that I ordered from Davina. Moving on.
Cool.
Um, mm, but getting singles like makes me like not super into a lot of palettes because I feel like a lot of these palettes. It's one of the reasons why I like Kaleido so much is because like I feel like a lot of them could be condensed into like 6 to 9 shades and be fine. I just feel like there's too many superfluous shades in a lot of palettes. That's another reason why like I tend to enjoy colored rain so much and like indie because they I feel like a lot of them aren't sitting around being like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make this a fucking pain in the ass. And we're just gonna
Yeah.
like I just don't like all that. I just feel like it becomes very stressful. They add so many colors and then they just all have that weird beigey shade that nobody fucking needs
Yeah.
another one of. So I just never jumped on that and I didn't like the way that everybody was always like tweeting towards ABH. I think my
Mhm.
general honoring nature is what saved me from them. That's
So
all.
I definitely would have never bought Modern Renaissance, except that I had fallen into like watching YouTube, and I definitely let the hype get to me. I did use it, but then like I bought the Prism palette, returned it. I bought Subculture like early 2019, late 2018. Have since decluttered it. I've really never. Oh, actually, I feel kind of dumb because I think so. I do think Soft Glam was a decent neutral palette. I ended up buying it and returning it because I didn't understand glitter glue at the time. So it would flake off my eyes. Like the shimmers looked really good compared to Modern Renaissance, but they would like flake off my eyes. And I got really pissed off. And I was like, how fucking dare this eyeshadow need a primer or base or some shit? And now I'm like, that's all I ever use. I use glitter glue all the damn time. But I just
Have you tried putting
I'm
them in a palette? You're hurting my feelings. Have you tried just
what?
sticking them in a palette?
See, I tried to have this conversation with Lacey back in the day. I let her find her own way to singles because she discovered like because I get it. People will want to like buy a like make a dupe of a palette and they pick out 12 colors and they realize that it's like $70 or something. But I'm all about like just find a couple of shades that you really that look really exciting. Get a little quad palette. Like Makeup Forever actually sells little quad magnetic palettes for like $2. Oh, I didn't realize this would happen. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't know that you. Okay, I thought you were about to fix it. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. But yeah, I just and I don't even like that beige shade because I was the type that I was like, I'm setting my primer, and I stopped setting my primer like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I
So
don't know why we're doing that. It's such a weird deal. I'm like, why are we setting our primer again? And they're like, well, it just makes the rest of the shades go on smoother. I'm like, isn't that what the primer is supposed to do? I'm so confused. Like,
it actually
like
doesn't because it doesn't grip on the shadows very well. And I agree. Like I don't need a beige in every palette. I don't need a black in every palette. If you didn't put
yeah.
like a deep brown in every palette, I'd be okay with
Thank
that.
you.
As long as there's a
I'm fine.
deepening shade. But yes, this I never bought a Lorac palette. I decluttered my Too Faced chocolate bar after buying it like a year after it was big, and yeah.
Thank you. It's Nomad. I'm wearing Nomad on my eyes. So those are palettes I have. Yolanda! I
And
just saw you.
I kind of wish I had kept that palette after I gave it away, but I wasn't as comfortable with color back then. And I look at it now and I'm like, bitch, that would have been a good like pairing palette in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like,
yeah.
yeah, because here's the thing. I find it weird. Like, why? I feel like this is one of my random conspiracy theories, but I feel like every beauty YouTuber talked about that stupid beige shade conflict. This is how you said it because like they were like in league with like why they just put a boring ash because basically they just ran out of ideas. They ran out of ideas and they're like, we'll put a beige and a black in and like we'll just call this pathetic shade. Holy shit!
Sorry. Tyrion
No,
can't get the fuck away from my laptop. He likes to sit right like against the hot laptop. It's not even cold in my apartment. It's hot. And he's sitting right there. And so like every time my camera shakes, it's him like scratching himself but sitting there and then just now he's like fuck your camera.
Tyrion
Okay.
shenanigans. But yeah, I feel like it was like a whole league thing where they were just trying to justify why every single palette had that fucking shade. And I just like to me, I was like, okay, but if you're gonna tell me, which is one of the reasons why I didn't use eye primer because I'm like, either I'm using this funky shade or I'm using eye primer, but I'm not using both, bitch. Like you're not gonna trick me into using both. So I don't set it. Like I just put my primer on. Y'all see me do my makeup. Like I just put my primer on and I'm like, okay, time to put the makeup on. Why would I put some like dusty, weird, beigey shade? I did what for? Like I want like explain why I'm doing this because I feel like it's one of those steps and an unnecessary step. And if you like doing it, do it. But like for me, I was just like this. I just don't understand why I'm doing this and this. Like what?
Well, and everyone's like, oh, it sets down your primer and makes a smooth base. It's like you said, that's what primer is for. If you don't want to, it's okay, Gabby. I have friends. Two of my closest friends are allergic to cats, and thus they don't really like them because the cats tend to want to kill them. Um, um, wait, I have to look back.
Is that more?
No, Faye and Keisha both asked about that. I will move on to y'all's opinions next because they are good ones. Do you have one you want to mention, or are
No,
you still
go
looking
ahead, because
for?
I can't figure out how to like do the thing. I like figured it out at one point and I fucking lost it.
So it's the archive. If you're looking for your archive. Um, so
Oh.
Faye's unpopular opinion is fall is okay. I'm not on the fall season train. It means winter is coming and winter is evil. My birthday is in fall, and I still agree with you. Because fuck winter. Fuck daylight savings time. Fuck snow and ice. I hate all
Okay,
of
I
it.
don't like daylight savings time, but I am in Texas. And to be fair, if I'm being fair, it's really hot here for like tomorrow it's going to be 104 degrees. Do you understand? That's just the temperature. That's not including the humidity, which means it could be like anywhere from 110 to 115 degrees. I hate it. And we don't even really get a fall. It's just disgusting. I hate it so much.
See, everyone's like, I love fall, I love snow. My thing is that I don't like ice, and that's what usually happens when snow happens here in New York. I don't have a car,
Mm,
so commuting everywhere is a fucking pain in the ass.
that
If
makes sense.
you are a fat person with fat, like I say fat legs, like fat calves and fat feet, finding snow boots that actually fit is basically impossible. So everyone's like, just get a good pair of snow boots. You can be out in the ice and snow. And I'm like, tell me where to find them.
Like, just
Please
kidding.
tell me. I've lived here for over a decade and I've yet to find them.
That's
So
true.
I would be happy to live in a 3-season location. If it was just spring, summer, fall, I'd be good with that.
I think I did something weird. Okay. I found the archive, but I can't figure out how to get to my thingies. I
Can
don't
you
know what
just
I did to
scroll
it.
up and see if you can recognize the
I did. I found the post. So now what do I do?
so then when you get to the post, then you'll see the responses or
No.
so swipe up on the post
Okay.
and then
Oh,
you'll see
swipe up on it.
responses and then you press see all.
Oh,
There we go.
baby girl, you so beautiful.
Uh,
All right, so I do have one after this. Listen, I don't like
I
being hot. I
understand
don't like
not
being
liking to be
sticky.
yeah. Yeah.
Also, I'm menopausal. Like, fuck this heat.
I don't disagree with NYC being overrated. I'm honestly I would consider moving except now I'm considering just trying to get the fuck out of this country. Otherwise moving
Fact.
to another city with public transportation because my anxious ass hates driving and literally I'm like I fucking refuse. That's my things. Those are all my issues. That
That's the
too.
same thing
Yeah.
here. That's the same thing here. It's like it's and then it's like cold. We have fall and spring, but it's like literally like maybe 2 weeks. And those 2 weeks are enough to make you think that it doesn't suck living in Texas. That's what happens every time. You're like, oh, it's not so bad. And then you're like, oh my God, what the fuck happened with this heat? Um, but yeah, I don't, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no.
And y'all can love whatever season you love. I just know what I like and what I don't like. Yes, can fall just like be that's my other thing is like the planet is dying that so every season is like not its normal season. So it's
Yeah,
like okay, fall is August, September, and then October turns into winter, and then winter is here till like May in New York. Like
Well, and they're also like always moving around when they change time, and I'm like, can we just pick a day if we're gonna keep doing this bullshit? Can we just pick a day? Because like, remember when it wasn't like because now we fall back, and it's
Yeah.
literally for like 4 months that we fall back now, and it used to be like longer than that. And now it's like, okay, we fall back like some random ass time. I think it's in October, and then we just like spring forward hella early, and it's like way earlier than it used to be. I feel like they've like moved things. I think
I
Bush
feel
did
like it's
it.
usually like March, which is a good 6 months.
Yeah, but I feel like Bush moved it back like a little bit further because it used to be on Halloween. I feel like almost like it was around Halloween when we fell back, and I feel like it moved to November. Am I crazy? Like. Feffy, remember when fall lasted? Those are the days. Like, there's
That's true.
literally no
Like,
reason for us to be doing this.
I would love if like fall was actually 4 months, and then winter was only 4 months, and then spring was 4 months, and then summer was 4 months. Like that would be nice. But yeah, I as somebody that like, even though I'm a night owl, I also hate having less sunlight out.
Night Toya.
So it always messes with me. Night Toya.
Well, I think so. Like the time change, actually, there's no. That is a very popular opinion, run because like daylight savings time is stupid and we do need to just let it go. There's no reason. We have literally saved no money in electricity doing it this way. It hasn't changed. Like we cannot, like I don't know when people like humans will understand that we don't control time. Thank you. Thank you, Allie. I told you Bush moved it because like the because he was the one who because when he did that, people were calling for the end of daylight savings time. So he moved it, saying like, "Oh, if we move it at this point in time, it's going to save money on electricity." But
I have to correct 3 months at a time. Sorry, I knew I was going to mess it up in my head. It's like 4 by 3 is 12, 3 by 4 is 12. 3 months of
however, we
summer,
are
3 months of fall.
but we are speaking of 2020, so it is a 16-month year. Like, but
Just
yeah,
say, yeah.
I just feel like very because like here's the thing in Texas, for instance, I what's really annoying is how all of fashion and beauty assumes fall is the same everywhere. Or like so they'll be stopping selling swimming suits, but I'm like, bruh, it's still hot as fuck here. Like right now, they're not selling bathing suits, right? So to me, I get mad because I'm like, it's gonna be 100 something degrees tomorrow. I'm probably gonna get my hair done and then I'm gonna day drink by the pool because the kids are in school, which means I can finally
Sounds
go to the pool.
amazing.
So I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna be wasted with all my sunscreen slathered on, and then I'm just gonna walk back to my house and pass out for a little bit. But it's gonna be so hot. But like if I needed to get another bathing suit, which I don't because I have too many, and that's neither here nor there. But you want a new one every year. Who cares? And
Or you
but
want one in
they're
the
not
middle of
going.
December. Why can't I get them? Like,
Whenever the fuck I want
why do
to.
they have
Why do I have
to
to go?
go away? Traveling is a thing. I mean, well, it's 2020, so I guess traveling is not a thing, but it was a thing. And I remember, like, there are times when it's like September, and I'm like, I would like a new bathing suit, or maybe it's January, and I'm like, fuck this country. I'm gonna go to like I went to Cartagena in Colombia in like March one year, and it
Yeah.
was perfect because it was cold and depressing in New York, and it was like hot and beautiful and swimmy, sunny, all of that. Yeah.
I don't even mind winter. Like the thing about Texas winter is as long as it's sunny, you're all right. The problem with Texas winter is when it's like gray. And I'm like, no, nope,
Yeah.
no. Yes,
Oh
I
wait,
would
do we
move
want to
too.
move on to another?
Yes, I
Um,
found them now. I'm like, I found them, Emily, with your
this is
guidance.
what I. This is what I've always wanted. I would love to be like bi-coastal, basically, and like move to
Hmm.
the San Francisco Bay Area for like winter, like fall, winter in New York, and then move back here when it's like spring, summer.
Oh, there's literally
Yeah,
no reason. They just made this up. Like they just made
yeah.
it up, and we've just been going with it. And we're like, okay, I guess it's like a weird thing that we do. Did you have
Yeah.
another one, or was it my turn?
It's your turn.
Okay. So this came from Nate. Sometimes brush quality matters more than formula, to be honest. And I would agree.
Yeah.
Because, so here's the thing, if you have good brushes, then the formula of like, I'm not saying it just magically kicks up, but like, for instance, when I use the refer brushes on some like matte shadows that weren't necessarily fantastic, but then I use the refer brush and I'm like, damn, Gina, this is pigmented as fuck. And I'm like very excited about it. But then if I use a different brush, I'm like, oh, this is like, if I use one of my like cheap shitty brushes, not cheap good brushes, because that's a thing. But
Yeah.
if I use one of my
There's a
cheap
difference.
shitty brushes, then it's not doing the thing that I want it to do. So it does hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I think especially if you've never used like natural hair brushes and then you're doing a review, like I just think if you're going to use a new brush, you should definitely consider that if you're doing a review, or
Mm-hmm.
if you have a palette that's not working for you in the same way or not, whatever, change up your brushes because you never know, you might get a different result that makes it an easier palette for you to use.
Yeah, like, because I find, especially with softer formulas, it's really good. Like, you really need to use your good brushes on softer formulas, not your shitty ones, because if you use your shitty brushes on a softer formula, whether it be for face products like face powders or your eyes, if you use your softer brushes, you're like your good brushes on softer formulas, you end up with like the shit ass look that you're just like, you're pissed. Like, things go everywhere. It doesn't really do that what you want. It doesn't set where you want it to set. If you're using a good brush, like, I know I'm always talking about them now because I'm trying to be a good YouTuber and actually like say what the fuck brush I'm using. But I am really into Royal Nickel, and I said it. You know, I can only say it one time, so we're gonna move on. And their Moda brushes, like their Moda Pro. I have this one. I like this brush a lot. I love this because for those of us, like, this brush is the perfect size for like those of us with all those folds and shit right there. It fits in there just so nicely, just like book, book, book. And I love that. Like, it's become. I bought so many. If you think I'm kidding, like, I bought so many. I think I have three of these Moda. Like they were just like, it was a fancy. It was electric or something. But I have three of these like brushes. I have three of them. Like, I got the set. I got this three sets.
And I wanted to say, so like Feffy is saying, I'm telling you, y'all, if I had good brushes, I would be so good at makeup. Y'all would be ready for it. You are great at makeup. So first
Mm-hmm.
of all, for anyone watching, listening, you're great at makeup. Brushes can help, but don't feel like you need good brushes to do good makeup. Because the
Yes.
reality is that, like, like, that's why I am critical about shadow performance, because I know that like if something is not performing great for me and I'm using refer brushes, which are not even the most expensive on the market, of course. But I'm like, okay, if I'm struggling with it and I'm using my natural hair brush, the size that I like, it's good for my small eyes, and I'm still struggling, we got some shit to deal with here.
But yeah, I don't
So
do that either, at least. Like, I'm not gonna spend all this fucking money, and I agree with you on the formula because, like, so for instance, things like fallout. To some people, that's not a problem, but to other people, it is, and so people need to, like, discuss that more. And then I found another one, Gabby's, that I don't know which brushes are best for my eyes. I just choose and go with it. So here's the thing that I started figuring out, as weird as this may sound, with your like mid-range, like your cheaper good brushes or your mid-range brushes, I highly, highly recommend you buy the sets, the little eye sets. I know it sounds weird, but if you buy those little eye sets, you start kind of picking and choosing and figuring out which brushes you like, what shape you like, how you like your brush to like go on, and like, because for instance, a lot of people use, which I don't use my brush from the side. A lot of people, for some reason or another, they'll be using a brush from the side. But like, this brush is not particularly good for the, because like, you see how big that is in comparison. So that's not what this brush, like this brush is like a last resort brush. It's an old ass Morphe brush I have. It's still really soft. This is like one of the few that's actually soft. But this is more like if I'm just packing color on messy, haphazardly, and I don't need it to be anywhere because it's so big that I'm not
Yeah.
gonna, like, this isn't gonna work for my crease or anything. But if you kind of, I don't know if you can see this in like comparison, it looks like, but this one has is more tapered. Like this is just poofed, and then this one's tapered. So like that's kind of how I started to figure out. I was like, this one's all poofed, and that's not like this is how the brush showed up. It's just like, poof. And of course I washed it, but this one's all poofed. This one's tapered, and I started to figure out like I liked more tapered brush that had more structure to it. But there are ones that aren't tapered and don't have structure, and I just started figuring that out by buying these kinds of sets. So that was
So
the
Gabby, I
lesson
think you
nobody asked
just
for.
answered if you answered your own question, you need smaller brushes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of brushes that you should look for. So like I'm not team brush sets, but I think that's also because I figured something out. If you don't really know, then yes, getting one set, one eye brush
Mm-hmm.
set and playing around with it if it has a good mix of sizes. But sometimes
Mm-hmm.
what I found is that things that are labeled as sets really have like one size they tweaked just slightly here and there, and then I'm like, okay, I have three brushes that basically behave the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, so I looked at Coastal Scents probably 2 years ago, and I didn't
Okay.
know shit about their brushes, but they sold them as single brushes. They had some natural hair ones, which I wanted to try out, and I picked up a couple, and those were my go-to, and they're like $2 brushes, and they were my go-to for a long time because they were smaller, they puffed out, but then tapered in, and
Mm-hmm.
I love those. I have now like my favorite refer brushes are the 13 and 14, which are their smallest eye brush size.
Yeah.
And I will buy multiples of those if they're in their concept store. But even before I had multiples, when I just had the set, because I like supported their Kickstarter, so I got their full set. Even when I just had their set, I would rather like use a dry like brush to take off powder or just do like a quick cleanse. I would personally rather like do that than have a bunch of brush sizes that I don't really like, and I will
Yeah.
reuse those brushes. So,
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I did. Like, for me, I
but none of
bought
us
this
are
like set, and then
experts.
like, yeah,
We're just learning as we go.
yeah, because like this used to be a brush I love. This is a BH Cosmetics brush. It's their number one brush, right? This is one of the things that had like taught me. Okay, okay, I'm doing this wrong. Now I use this for blending out stuff. I don't use it for my crease, which is what this is for. But like, look how fucking long that is. This is so
Okay,
long, and it's too
that's
much for
another good
me.
lesson.
I'm like,
That's another good
and like,
lesson. Ignore the name of brushes. Just fucking
yeah,
ignore the names of brushes.
yeah.
Just
Use it for
try
whatever you
brushes in all
want.
different places. Ignore whatever
Yeah,
they name it. Because, like, Elf is infamous for that. Like, they'll name brushes, and I'm like, no.
yeah. Listen,
Um,
because like I mean, and that's the thing is like they'll name it for whatever it's for. Like Emily was saying, and you don't have to use it for that, right? You don't like they may call this a detail brush, but for you that may be your crease brush. You know, like all of these
yeah.
things may be how you work. And this brush for me now, I just use this more for blending because I'm like it's really long. Like the brush itself, not the like handle, but this brush is too long for like my
Yeah.
like. Yes, I have big eyes, but it's too long, so I just use it to blend now. I'm like, because there's like not a lot of I don't have to do a shit ton of precision with it, so I wouldn't use this brush for that. So yes, Nate, you got us started on a whole ass conversation.
Yes.
Oh.
And Gabby was saying with contour, the hollows of the cheeks. One, contour is not for everyone. Two, the hollow could
Correct.
be anywhere. Like, even though I am fat, like, when you do this, like, and this might not happen for your face, Gabby, but like, that I think is what people mean by hollows. But
I
also,
don't have any
like,
hollows. That's why I don't
you can just
contour.
play around because they're already there. Like, they're there. They just, when you slap your face in, it doesn't change, but they're already there. But I think the thing
Yeah.
is the concept of contouring, I just don't think is really, I don't think it's really a technique I care about, I guess is really what it comes down to.
No, and I don't like. That's why, like, when people are like, "Ugh, you contour and like fucking bronze in the same spot." I'm like, when people kind of talk about whether or not people do that. Here's the thing: I contour and bronze like in the same spot because it's the same. For me, it's a beautiful spot to do that at.
Yeah.
Whether I'm cutting my cheekbone, like cutting it or not, like that's neither here nor there. That is where the sun touches my fucking face, but also that tends to sometimes be where I'm supposed to contour. I that's why I don't care about contouring. I like putting on my bronzer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a good time. If I really want to cut this bitch, I will. But I don't have really sharp cheekbones for the most part, unless I've been drinking too much booze and then they're round. But
But I do like
but
Deja's
yeah.
suggestion of like right where your sideburns kind of are, like
Mm-hmm.
contouring like right there, kind of at the hairline, and maybe tapering it in, like creating a slight shape that way. And then
Mm-hmm.
your like forehead if you feel like you want to diminish that. But for me, I'm more of a bronzing person. Like even today,
Yeah.
I was using the Midas Dawn face palette, and I just mixed the bronzer and contour together and did all over bronzing. Um,
Yes, like that's
and
the
yes,
thing. And I have done that, Bethany. You are totally right. Yes, I am wearing Nomad. I have Nomad all over my eyes. The only thing that isn't is obviously the mascara and my eyeliner, but it's Nomad. I have three different Nomad palettes. I have the Berlin, and all of them are on my eyes. I have the Berlin, the Marrakesh, and the Orient Express, all three of them. Because I just can't just use one palette anymore. It's boring. Um, like, yeah,
yes, no
contouring
one's
isn't the
supposed to have to do anything. Yeah.
And then where was it? I think Bethany had just said something. Contour
Oh, the
works when you
brush.
underpaint.
Mm,
That's true. So this is the thing.
yeah.
That is how I learned to contour when I went to school. Like even blush, for instance, was done to give you that. Like I woke up like this. It was done with a cream, and it was done underneath everything, and then you like lightly put everything else on top of it. So basically, you do all of this underpainting, and it's almost all the way that I learned it for television, obviously, it was almost all like cream products, and you did all the contouring, you did all of this, you did, and then when you put everything on top, it was just basically you just kind of were setting that, and then like you look like you woke up like that, and your face was like,
Yeah.
because the whole point is not you're not cutting your face after the fact. You need to be doing that, or should be. That should all be done underneath, and then you put the stuff on top. Like if you watch Jackie Aina do that as well, she's really good at the underpainting. So
Yeah.
like that's really where
But
that hangs out.
I will say, if you don't have cream products and you're like fuck cream products, I want to use my powder, contour, and bronzer. Something that I did, and I don't do it as much now because I don't really mess with powders right now, like face powders.
Mhm.
But the technique called buffing, which is something I originally saw with Mel Thompson, but other people do it. You can do this with actual powder or just with a clean brush. But basically, like you would take, like I will take like a bigger brush and just go over. So sometimes I would use finishing powder and go over and basically do buffing motions all over the face, on top of
Mhm.
your blush, on top of your highlighter, on top of your contour, on top of your bronzer. And even if you don't have even if you don't have powder on your brush, if it's just a
Mhm.
clean brush, that motion will kind of diffuse without muddying it all together. It'll kind of
Mhm.
diffuse all of the lines and all the things together, so it doesn't just
Yeah.
look like you have your contour and then your blush and then your highlighter. And like if you
Yeah.
want your highlighter to stay more pop, more intense, just skip that area when you're buffing. So that's something I've done when I was doing a little bit more powder focused makeup. And it really helped me because I have a tendency to go heavy handed, especially with like blush. And so
Yeah.
sometimes
Me
I
too.
want to slightly diffuse it out. And it works, like I said, it works with powder, like with a finishing powder, or like not one of those thicker, heavier loose powders, but just like a finely milled powder, or with just a clean brush. So I
Darian is on some shit. He was just like, I'm moving your camera every 5 seconds. Hope you enjoy
yes, exactly. Oh, okay. Um, I would say I have one other. So I wanted
Go
to
ahead.
wait. For so Keisha Yanni wrote in the chat, gave me an unpopular opinion. Forgiveness is overrated and usually unnecessary.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I don't think it's
Um,
unpopular. Well, maybe it's unpopular, but I agree.
Yeah, I don't want to get too into certain things, but I think here's the thing. You don't have to forgive anyone for anything that you feel they have wronged you for. You don't have to. Because people will say like, "Oh, well, it's so heavy on your heart." It's not. It's not heavy on my heart. Like I'm just not gonna forgive you. There are people I'm just like, I'm never gonna forgive you. Done. And like, it's not like I sit and dwell on it all day, like every day. I'm not like, oh my God. Like, I just said, I'm not going to forgive you. And you shouldn't have to, because the thing about forgiveness to me is that it puts the onus on me to like better
Yes.
myself by forgiving somebody who did me fucking dirty. I'm not about to do that. Like, why
Okay,
am I
that
putting.
was something I saw on Twitter like the last couple of days. I'm sure Tony, the regular reviews, like either liked it or retweeted it, and it felt. I feel like I might have seen it through her, but it felt so true. Where it's like, yeah, why are we putting the onus on the person who was wronged to forgive
Yeah.
and to like be the best person in the situation when the person that was wronged is often the person that's already done so much work to like deal with the situation, move past it.
Sorry.
Yeah, people make it's okay. People make it seem like forgiveness is the only way to heal from something. It's bullshit. Agreed.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Everybody acts like the only way you heal is if you forgive them. And I'm like, fuck.
Tasha, I saw this tweet that said, I'm excited to announce that I'm no longer going to be the bigger person. I'm about to start biting people like a rat.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the very concept, the idea that I should be forced to forgive somebody from so that my conscience will be clear. Like, my conscience was clear the second I realized you fucked me over. Like, I'm done then. Like, I don't forgive you. Like, there are people that, and what's weird is like, there are people that I used to work with that if I ran into them now, they would probably try to act like they weren't like dirty, shitty people. And then I'd have like, and I'd just be like, no, I don't need to talk to you. Like, you're a piece of shit, and I'm not going to. And then they'll just be like, well, that was in the past. I'm like, it was, and my hatred of you is still now, still now.
That was in the past. This is the
This is in
present.
the.
I still
Thank you,
fucking hate you. Stop talking to me.
thank
Well,
you.
and here's the thing is that so like Bethany said something about how forgiveness gives her a sense of control when nothing else feels like in control. I understand that, but I also like don't think that I don't think everyone needs to be forgiven. I think that I've realized that like I can sit there and process like, okay, what happened? Where did I like see signs? Or where did I feel some kind of way but I didn't speak up? And then how could I have stopped this sooner? Not that I am the victim and not that I need to change my behavior, but just that I can use this opportunity to reflect, but I don't actually have to like let them have what can sometimes feel like a free pass back into my life. And I'm not saying that people that if they know they're forgiven that they would try to come back into my life, but I don't want to give them the opportunity. I don't want to give them the space, the inch to sneak back in because um yes, this people weaponize forgiveness and social decorum. And it's like,
Yes.
I made a choice. I made a choice. And this is what's going to happen. And you can make me feel specifically bad about not giving this person another chance. But guess what? That's my choice.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is people like that really bothers me. The idea that people really gaslight you and push you into trying to forget. And I'm like, why are you bothering me? Like, you'll feel better. I'm like, will I feel better, or will you feel better that I have forgiven? Especially when it's amongst people that you know, and they're like, well, you guys were always. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not forgiving them. And stop making me try to do this. Because, like, if I fuck up and you don't want to forgive me, you don't have to. I can tell
That
you I'm
too.
sorry and I can tell you all that, but if you don't want to forgive me, you don't fucking have to. And I can't keep coming to you being like, you've got to get over this at some point. That's where the gaslighting comes in. Is they're like, it's been 3 years. It's like, I don't give a fuck how long it's been. I can not like you and I can go to the grave not forgiving you. Like, no.
And and I think that like that's what I have to think about. I have to think about both sides of the coin, where it's like I believe that like not everyone deserves forgiveness. I believe that not everyone deserves reconciliation. And I
Mm-hmm.
also have to realize that not everyone has to give me forgiveness. I'm going to specifically talk about what happened. Wow, that was just last week. And like the thing that I said on that Tuesday live stream, and how like Audra has been a dear friend and been like helping me understand maybe where it came from. But I also realized that for some people, what I said was harmful enough where they needed to take a step back or change their perspective on me. And I have to respect that's a choice that because
Yeah.
that's what how it made me feel. And so I think that's where like that's the bigger part of this. It's like talking about forgiveness and how it's not always like something you have to give. I like talking about this because it's even a bigger reminder to myself that like
Yeah.
I may fuck up and somebody in my life may choose to like not reconnect or reconnect in a different way that doesn't feel the same, because if they have chosen to forgive me, they still haven't chosen to kind of like try to reestablish these old norms, which are no longer norms because things have changed, or
Yeah.
they might not want to reconnect in any way. So it's hard to like process sometimes both sides of it, but I like to keep that in mind where it's like it's a move I can make and it's also a move
Yeah.
other people can make me.
Because, like, I do a lot of things that aren't awesome, but, like, at the end of the day, I always have to look at it as like most people who've wronged me. I'm a very patient person. There's a lot of shit that I will forgive and I will move forward. However, betrayal of trust is one of those things where I'm just like, yeah, I'm never forgiving you. Move on. Like, and that's it. Like, I will never forgive you for that. That's because if I cannot trust you, there's literally no reason for me to be friends. There's no, like, so why would I forgive you? Like, why? What is the point for me to forgive you? So I've had that happen in relationships. Where I'm like, no, you completely abused my trust in this relationship, and I'm done. Hmm.
Exactly.
Did you have
Exactly.
another
Just
unpopular opinion?
things change forever. Exactly. And so it's like no
Mm-hmm.
matter how much you want to try to fix it on either side of it, sometimes things just change.
They
Let's
do.
see.
Isabel Taurus, hello. That's true. Because like
Uh,
that's a very Taurus ass thing to do.
um, oh, I completely agree with this, Gabby. I don't believe blood family is family. I believe family is who you choose it to be, and that doesn't have to be who your bloodline shows. Like, it does not have to be.
I have a good one
Yeah, go for it.
from Ali Sunshine. Weddings are a waste of money. That is not an
Yep.
unpopular opinion. I agree, and not just
I
because I
mean,
had
it's
a
an
failed
unpopular.
marriage, but because it is actually a waste of money.
As somebody who worked in a bakery selling wedding cakes, as somebody who was a personal assistant to a wedding planner, as somebody who has worked in catering weddings, although we do cool ass like what I would call indie weddings, like smaller weddings with for like more modern couples, it's all a waste of money. Like it is. Like it's a weird thing where it's like a system I don't really even believe that much in, but it's something that has paid my bills for years. So that's fun.
Like literally, if you just said you were having a party instead of a wedding, it would be one
Yeah.
significantly less expensive, like by
Yeah.
thousands of dollars, not like a hundred,
Mm.
thousands.
Oh no,
All
they
right.
immediately venues, caterers, everyone immediately like wedding rates are completely different from just party rates.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, y'all do know that there are people who are currently getting divorced. They're still paying for a wedding. Like, they're. Can you imagine? you're getting divorced and you're still paying for a fucking wedding that you had a few years ago. Like, the thing is, you could, all that money that you spend on a wedding, you could literally have used it for vacations. Like, go on vacation.
As somebody that
No,
loves to
sir.
travel, I would definitely use it.
Like, go
Um,
to the
I mean,
JP, bring everybody you want to bring, do that, and then get go on vacation for the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, depending on how some of y'all live your lives. But like, go on vacation. Like,
exactly. So like I mean the bakery I worked at, we didn't have like wedding pricing versus other pricing, but there are fees that can come into play in terms of if you want a tasting, if you need delivery, and the other part of it, and the reason why a lot of people have um, higher rates specifically for weddings is because no matter how chill and cool you think you're gonna be, the
mm-hmm.
wedding industry turns you into an asshole as a bride. Like the bridezilla idea is completely created by the wedding industry. It's completely created by Disney and this you'll find your one true love. It's the one person. So like you better have what looks like a princess ball. And so I think the thing with a lot of vendors is they know no matter how chill you seem at the beginning, there's a fuck ton of hand holding and changes and decisions, and that's why you pay more.
Yep. Because there's a
So
lot of there's a and the thing is there's a lot of pressure and stress, right? Because
yeah.
you like, because like, is a wedding even about you? Like, that's the thing that I was at. Like, I ask now, I'm like, was the wedding even about me? I don't think
Yeah.
so. Like, there were certain
And
aspects that I got to keep as mine, but the majority of it wasn't really about me.
and that's the sad part is I truly think the wedding, your choices and all of that should be like a celebration of the two people getting married. But unfortunately, because family pays for it or all these other people might financially assist, which means they all have a say in it. So all of a sudden, now it's not just you deciding what cake you want or you and your significant other deciding what food you want. Now it's your mom and your mother-in-law and your father-in-law and the cranky grandpa who's some for some reason insists on coming even though he hates all food. Like that's the kind of shit that you get stuck dealing with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Same, Mary.
bless you. Blessings upon you for having done that. Because here is the thing. Um, that part. That's exactly what I was getting to. The culture around all yeah, I mean,
I don't blame
the
you.
culture around weddings. And here's the thing, whether you believe in it or not, it's fine. Like, and if you want to have a wedding, please don't feel like you're alienated from this, because the thing is, everybody's going to say this to you as you're getting married, like, just remember, just try to remember, like, it's your big day, try not to like, just live in the moment. You can't. There's a million things happening. You can't live in the moment. Like, you're getting on the dress and you're getting your makeup and this is happening and you're trying to make sure this is going down and someone's family members are sitting here and this, you're like doing too much to like really focus on what's happening. And you can remember like a couple of moments from your wedding. That's why you take pictures, but you can distinctly remember a couple of moments from your wedding, and then the rest of it you're just gonna like, I don't know what happened, I wasn't really there. Like, and then you just want to leave. Like, you don't really get to eat at your own wedding. Most of the time you don't even get to eat because you're entertaining guests. So like, why is that a wedding? Like, how am I entertaining the guests at my own fucking wedding? Like, it's my wedding, y'all entertain me. Like, if I'm
One of
really
the
the
things
princess, y'all need to be the court jesters, okay?
and one of the things and that like if you are getting married in the future, I would say like so one of the things that I so my friend is a caterer, but I've worked with her for a number of different weddings and parties and things. Something that we will always do is we make a big like usually it's 2 or 3 big containers of food that are like just for the couple because we know that they're going to eat during the wedding, but it's basically
Mhm.
like their bride and groom plate or their whatever their couple
Yeah.
plate. And it's something that like I don't know if all caterers really focus on this, but I would say if you are getting married, ask for that because you're not going to remember the food, you're not going to enjoy it. And if you took the time and effort to like get a caterer that you're excited about, you should fucking enjoy the food.
Yeah, I mean that's it. You should enjoy the food. You should have a lovely time. It shouldn't be.
Dance.
It shouldn't be so stressful and like I discovered very quickly that it just really wasn't for me because I started getting more and more annoyed. Like every time I turned around, it's just like somebody else needed something, or so like people they're inviting family members that I've never even fucking met before. And like, are we gonna? And I'm like, first of all, you're not paying for it, so no. But to really top it off, it's a lot of work and stress when you could literally like do a small gathering that's just like a party and it's nice and it's like not overly expensive and you don't have to spend 5 grand on a fucking dress. Like it can just be something that makes you feel comfortable and calm and safe and that you can actually remember and not feel stressed and not feel like you're doing it for everybody else. Like when the folks who get to get married in the backyard and do all these beautiful things, like that's so much nicer for you because you didn't have to like go out of your way doing all of this shit. And I feel like it just turns out better for most people. Like I went to um, somebody's wedding reception and it was at their house. It was at their house. They had like food catered in. It was like a cheese, it was a really good buffet. There was like artichoke hearts. It was so good. And like wine and like fruit and like cheese and crackers. It was so good.
Exactly. Like
And I
your
was like
wedding
standing there.
like, it can be what I think that's so like everyone's like give us the wedding hacks, but like well so okay, so this is the tricky part of it. If somebody else is paying for it, you better accept that that means it's not that it's not your wedding, but that there are going to be choices made and the person who's paying for it is going to have veto power. So
Yes.
if the persons that are paying for it or people that are paying for it are very traditional, or if they are allergic to a certain kind of food, or if they have this one particular cake baker they want you to use, even though you fucking hate their work, like if somebody else can pay for it, that's awesome. But also know that you are giving up a lot of control. Even when they say, no, 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 it's going to be your wedding. I just want to pay for it. As the planning happens, that's not usually how it shakes out. So
Correct.
you just have to figure out, do you want to give up that control, or do you want to just do something small that is within your budget or you and your, or do you want, actually, this is a good tip. If somebody is like, oh, we want to help, you could say, do you want to gift us the cake? Or do you want to gift us the musician? Or do you want to gift us and pick one thing for them to gift to you? So that it's not just like, well, we put in some money, so we have control. It's like, no, paid for the music. You got to pick the music. You're done now. So that's what I would say.
Quick note on those Vegas elopements, you can actually have it be traditional and still have the Vegas one because they have packages where you could actually like for instance be at the Bellagio, have a beautiful traditional ass wedding. It's like it could be 3 to 4 grand, but you stay 2 nights in the hotel, all of that. It's nice.
You're
I'm sorry if
recently
it's
engaged,
stressful.
right?
Oh
Right?
yeah.
You had a beautiful ring you were showing off in stories.
But yes, you can still have the traditional Vegas wedding with you. It doesn't have to be drive-through. I think people think of Vegas as the drive-through, but it's not. Yeah. You can stay in a hotel and everything, and they do all this like bomb ass shit, and it like, and you stream it. You can also stream it too.
That's rough. They got married during spring break with kids in the pool by the pool. Yeah. Well, and then if you're somebody like Keisha who's just like, fuck you, I'm taking the money, that's a different thing. But
yeah, it's Keisha's boss. Like so.
Oh yeah. Oh no. A lot of the weddings that I've catered with my friend were gay or just like not traditional, and they were so much more fun than any wedding that I've ever been a part of otherwise. So wait, are there any other
one more popular opinion?
Yeah. Do you want to pick it?
The wind down. This is my favorite. This came from Meg H2D. The customer is not always right, and we need to start telling them that. I don't know if that's unpopular anymore because the customer is not always right. I don't know if I actually did I put that up on my stories, that Sephora one, or did I just send that to folks?
No.
That Sephora TikTok. You remember that one? It's
Oh,
like, did you just slap that
the
toddler?
Ulta and Sephora one. Yeah.
Yes. Because here's my problem with the mentality that the customer is always right. Is first of all, we're more and more saying that's not true. Um, but the other part of it is it gives customers this idea that they can treat people any old way. And you're not
Yep.
about to treat me any old way, honey. Like, I am not doing it. I'm sorry. You're not going to treat me any old way. You're not going to come in like acting like, well, I don't. No, thank you. The
Hmm.
customer is always right is how Karens happen. And because it gives customers this idea that they should be allowed to get you fired because they are moderately or minor, like they have a minor inconvenience. A minor inconvenience is not a reason to try to get somebody to lose their fucking job. Like, that's really intense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they forgot the lime in my water. I said lime, not lemon, not lemon. They need to not have their job. And it's just like, we need to take, like, that power needs to kind of come back. It needs to hit a center spot to where, like, yes, we're caring for you, but also you don't get to choose who works here.
Or you don't get to see. This is why I hate tip culture. This is why I hate that this country runs on tips. Fuck
Mhm.
tips. Pay people well, because the problem is not even people being like, I'm going to make sure this person loses their job. It's you got me a water with lemon. I said I wanted a lime. No tip for you, and they're spending $100 or some shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
so you're gonna spend like 2 hours with this person, or not even 2 hours. Maybe it's 30 minutes. Maybe it's an hour. Maybe it's 2 hours. And one mistake makes you think that they no longer deserve any tip, and they don't
Yeah.
realize tip actually means paying them a wage that they could live on. Because in a lot of states, that they can get paid $2 to $3 an hour, and the tips are the add-on. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think what's horrible about this, like, I've known people who were literally counting back on their tip. They're like, they started with, $7, but they're already at 6 now because they fucked this. I'm like, are you serious? Are you seriously doing? Like, what's wrong with you? What
yeah,
is wrong with you? Like, why wouldn't you? It's just, and this is the thing. Like, I've known people who bartended, who are servers, who graduated college. They went into work in their field, and they were like, fuck this, because they could make significantly better money being a server, but they have to deal with a lot more bullshit, right? And this is why I don't agree with the culture of, like, talking shit about what someone does as their job, because you have
yeah.
no idea how, like, I mean, she was so excited to graduate college and be like, I'm gonna get a job. Then she was like, yeah, fuck that. You can't even make any money at this job. Like, she went and worked a 9 to 5 and was just like, yeah, fuck that. You can't make any money at this job. This is crap. Um,
Well, and it's just like this whole thing about the customer is always right. The thing that, and this is kind of tangent. Yes, this is related. It's like because I experienced this a lot, and I was a manager role at a bakery that I worked at. But so often, the retail staff would say something to the customer about like, oh, we can't do that, or I'm not sure if I can do that, but this is something I can do for you. And it's like, but I want this. Can I talk to a manager? And then I would come out and I would back them up, because I'll say 75% of the time. In a good situation, 95% of the time, but usually the staff was right. And I would back them up and then be like, is the owner here? Is the bakery owner here? And they would come out and then they would give this customer what they wanted, even though the customer was fucking wrong.
mhm.
And it would make everyone else that worked in that bakery look like they were specifically trying to be deceitful to the customer. And then the
Correct.
customer no longer trusted anyone in the bakery except for the owners. And this didn't just
Hmm.
happen with like one person. This was a repeated issue where there would be people, and it's just like, you can't just tell every customer they're right. Like, this is right. It's like, at least defend your staff and say they were right. but I'm gonna do this for you this one time. But I fucking
Thank
hate
you.
that, like, this person is right. They're the customer. They're right. It's like, no, they're fucking wrong. They're
Like, and
actually
you need to tell
completely
people that they're wrong. Like, you need it.
exactly.
Like, even if you're doing something nice, you need to be like, well, you're wrong, but I'm going to do this thing for you this time because,
And
you misunderstood the situation. Just being
but
able
I
to
also
do that so
hate
that they
that.
get it.
But I also hate that because then it's like, but you did it for me last time, even though you
I know I
say
hate people.
it was only one time. But I think everyone should have to work a retail job, a service job, a waiter job. Everyone should have to work
Stop.
at least 40 hours because
Yeah.
I also hate the attitude of like the customer is always right and service workers are not worth their weight. Like they are not worth respect or like kind words that you can
Yeah.
yell at them and treat them like shit because they just work behind the counter somewhere.
Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird, it's like you said here. Oh, sorry. I chick
Oh, it's
clicked on
okay.
that because the people who
Yes.
used to be hired. Yeah, it is a circle because there's people.
Yeah.
Oh, I like wine. I'm like, everybody likes wine. Shut the fuck up. Like, everybody's like somewhat.
Mommy needs her happy juice.
Oh my god, I
Also
hate
doesn't take.
that.
I hate that. That's another unpopular opinion. I hate, like, I understand. I don't even understand. I
Why don't you just tell your kids are drinking?
see,
Like,
I can see how being a parent is very stressful and very difficult. But why can't you just call wine wine?
like I just don't
So
know why you wouldn't tell your kids you're drinking wine. It's weird. I don't have kids, so I don't know. But it just seems weird as fuck that like there's grown ass women be like, I told them I needed my mommy juice, and I'm like,
but but no, the weirder thing is they're not even saying that to their kids. They're saying it to their friends.
I
They're
know.
saying mommy needs her happy juice. They're not even talking down to their kids. They're like
It's weird.
talking down to themselves. So yeah. Oh my goodness. This chat has been so good tonight. Y'all
I know
are
this has been a fire ass chat.
this. Okay, this is probably one of my favorite sectors of TikTok is every
I know.
service worker complaining about or like giving their like customer interactions. There are some amazing like highly comedic people on there just and it makes me like laugh and rage at the same time.
Sir, you stop. On that note, we're going to wrap this one up because it is, in
Yes.
fact, time for us to hit that uh, wind down for our Patreon. For those of you who are patrons, don't forget to go and hit it up and hit the link up. We'll be there in just a little bit. I've got to take Bo out for just a quick TT, and then I will be there for all of you who joined
Yes.
us tonight. Thank you. We like to be able to do these like fun, silly ones as well. And thank you
Yeah,
all
and
for
kind of like let out some ranty rage about silly things too. So
yes.
it's
Oh,
been
I'm
great.
sorry,
And I'm sure we'll do
Sherry.
this again.
We will.
Oh,
So you all be safe.
yes.
Have
Have a
fun.
wonderful weekend, everyone. And we'll see
Be
everybody at the wind
kind.
down from there. Yes.
$0